Hello, everybody. I think I'm live. I feel alive. I've actually been up since 5, which rhymes with alive. So hopefully I'll actually be able to see comments. So somebody comment, somebody say something, somebody be like, hello, or something wonderful. Because I love seeing your comments. And if not, I'll have to get on Facebook on my phone. Oh, you're there. Hello, Teresa. Hello, Tom. Hello, Susan. Hello, Monica. Oh my gosh, I got Monica on my phone and on the computer. Hello, Mihaela. Hello, Manal. Hello, Georgia. Okay, nice to see you all. And just because I don't say hi to you after this is not that I don't like you. Okay, Oana. I wanna say hello to you. Hello, Amanda and Frederic and Paulina and Laura and Karina. Okay, now let's get to our conversation. Thank you all, because I am inspired. Inspired in a different way, and that is one of the gifts of facilitating access classes. Is one of the things I see with people who use the access tools consistently is they get over their fear of creating a future. What I want to talk to you about today, partially at least, is about creating a future, because that's actually what this is about. One of the things I see with people who use access tools is they don't have the fear of future that most people have. So everywhere you have bought and developed and delivered to yourself a fear of future that actually is not yours, that seems to be prevalent in the world so that you won't even look at it or see it, so you keep it outside of you, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And one of the tools I would like you to all play with, please, is the 1, 2, 3 that we did yesterday. We only did 1, I think. But basically, anything you want to change, it can help change it. Like if you're having a crappy day, you're feeling really sad. In fact, we have numbers all the way up to 20, and they all have meanings. Very important, significant, not really. In fact, one of the access tools is no form, no structure, and no significance, which is one of the things that gives you a different way of walking through the world. Because if you look at it, everybody makes things so significant, even when they shouldn't be, even when they don't have to be, and especially when they don't have to be. And even those things you make really significant. So this is, I guess, tool number 1 is no form, no structure, and no significance. So when you hear about Corona and they're doing more lockdowns and all that, and you're like, what the fuck, are you kidding me? Well, not significant is where you go, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. So get all the energy around all the Corona stuff right now, okay? And I love that. I call the numbers the colors of chaos. You are correct. It's like a chaos rainbow. And by the way, chaos is where you want to be. Order is where you limit yourself. But I'm not going to go into that conversation just yet. Okay, so first tool, no form, no structure, and no significance. Second tool is 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 changes the past, 4 creates a different future, okay? I will explain all, okay? And so in this no form, no structure, no significance, the greatest way to get there is to use something called interesting point of view. I have this point of view. And you'll notice right now, I haven't mentioned the word earth since I started. We're almost 4 minutes in. It's because changing what goes on the earth is only partially about what we direct and do specifically for the earth. Most of it is what we do with ourselves. Like you being something walking upon the earth that is different than people function, that is more like the space that an animal or a plant is, that is one of the greatest contributions you can be for the earth. And so I'm gonna do every darn thing I can to help us get there. And also, the other thing is the energy of, do you have any, I love it, any ideas on how to let sadness go? And thank you, Anita. No form, no structure, no significance. There you go. You're like, Do you realize, okay, we'll talk about sadness in a moment. Monica, will you remind me, please, if I forget, because I've got several things in my head already. So many. So let's talk about the no form, no structure, no significance, because when you don't have that, then you're walking around being the space that is more like the plants and the animals, and the plants and the animals are continuously receiving from the earth and gifting to and contributing to the earth. And so, and apparently we don't have translations for this yet, because I'm donating my time. Our creative team has been donating their time, and I haven't wanted to ask the translators to donate their time because I don't feel like I have that right. So currently we don't have translation. We're working on it to see what might be possible, because our translators are really busy. So today's shirt is the best. It's my peacock shirt. I'm wearing my peacock shirt because lots of times there are peacocks out there. Let's use this, so no form, no structure, no significance. And the way to get there, the way to actualize that, the way to be in the significance and then go beyond it is, number one, make a choice. Because right now, like, this sadness is a perfect example. When people get to sadness, what are they doing? They're doing significance about something. They're doing form and they're doing structure. And you go, yeah, but my dog just died, so I'm sad. Well, if you acknowledge your dog as an infinite being, that, depending on your point of view, is either going to be able to go to heaven or come back and get another body, or could stay around you energetically, would you still be sad, or would you go, oh, instead of sad, I'm going to be grateful for the gift this creature has been in my life? So you want to realize that gratitude is always the antidote to sadness, to judgment, to fear, and to lack of creation. Gratitude is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. And so with the sadness, one of the other things is we get really sad because so many people in the world are sad, and we're sad for the fate of the world. And aw, Clara, you're wonderful, thank you. Okay, so Clara Yalchinkaya, I love your name too. We need to write down your name. Can you send however you signed up with this, can you please send a thing to our people? I wish I knew how. Maybe somebody can post a thing in here. With Access Trans, the thing is, we need probably to have approved translators, because it's not the easiest thing to do. But hey, you never know. We'll see what we can work out. Thank you. So look at it for a moment, okay? The birds, are they ever sad? Does a bird ever wake up and go, I'm not going to sing today. I'm having a bad feather day. I'm just not going to chirp. I just don't have any chirp in me today. No, the birds are like, chirp, 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 chirp. And so, and a lot of people will have different points of view about sadness. Like, it lets us know we lost something of value, and be grateful that we had something to love. Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to realize that sadness and trauma and drama and suffering and fear and anger and blame, shame, regret, and guilt are all valuable in the world we live in. But here's what I look at. If it's not valuable to the earth itself, if it's not valuable to the animals, if it's not valuable to the plants and the clouds and the sun, why is it valuable to us? And so, and I'm talking specifically about things like thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and all these points of view that we keep having. And so this is part of why I wanted to bring this up today, is the way to get beyond the form, the structure, and the significance, because whether you realize it or not, my bird's husband died. She's fine now. I love it. What about filming live with nature? I love the way you're thinking. The way to get beyond it, first you have to make the choice and go, this is not creating more. If I stay here, is my life going to be better today or worse? If I stay here, what's my life going to be like in 5 years? This is a great tool for choice, by the way. So second tool is, What will my life be like in 5 years if I choose this? And be like, not look like. What will my life be like if I choose this? And just get the sense of it. Is it light, heavy, whatever? And what will my life be like if I don't choose this, or if I choose something else? And get the sense of which is lightest, choose the one which is lightest. And if you ask, okay, if I stay in sadness, if I keep choosing sadness, what's my life going to be like in 5 years? Well, it's going to go like that. And then you realize, if I choose sadness, what's my week going to be like? Less. So then you want to ask, what other choices available that I've never considered? This is another tool. And guys, I'm going to be giving you a ton of tools during this thing, because part of what I'm hoping to invite is us being walking, talking stewards of this beautiful planet. And we are very far from being that, most of us, most of the time, in our very energy of being. So what is being a walking, talking steward of the planet? It's actually the energy that you be. That is what creates that. It's how you walk upon the planet. And so like somebody will judge you, for example, and you've got the choice to go, oh my God, they judged me, I'm bad, I'm wrong, which is alignment and agreement with their judgment, which is the positive polarity. And then you go into it and you're like, oh my God, I'm bad, I'm wrong. That's alignment and agreement. Or what'll happen is they'll judge you. They'll go, you're a bad, terrible person. And you go, oh my God. And then sometimes the other side that you think is available is to do resistance and reaction, where you're like, no, I'm not, I'm a good person. You just don't understand. Well, neither one of those create freedom for us. Neither one of those allow us to walk on the earth as though we were the earth. And this is what I would like to invite you to, is to walk upon the earth as though you are the earth. Okay? And so, with that, what you do, the other choice available is interesting point of view. I have this point of view. With interesting point of view, it's kind of like what we started yesterday, which is where you lower your walls and barriers and you let the energy come in. Rather than putting up the wall and trying to defend, you let the energy come in and go through you without a point of view. So somebody goes, oh, you're a terrible person, and you go, you lower the walls and barriers, you let the energy through, and you're like, oh, thank you. Thank you for your opinion. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Now, please realize there are many of these tools and ways of looking at things that I'll be giving you. And if you, with that, there will be lots of times where you go, yes, but I'm not there. Well, but you got to realize the rest of the world has taught you to judge. We have been taught to judge. Little kids don't judge. You know, until the time they're about 8 or 9 years old, when they've been taught that they're supposed to. Little kids don't judge until we teach them how. And so rather than judge someone or something, you want to lower your walls and barriers. And rather than judge yourself for not being perfect and not getting it, you know what? We're all on this incredible journey together. And some parts of it are really fucking tough. And when I share something with you as a possibility, like going beyond the sadness, I'm not in any way trying to make you wrong for the sadness. What I'm trying to do is give you a different space that you can look from. So when you're ready to choose to go beyond it, you have the space to know it's available, number one. And it will be available for the rest of your life, because part of what I do when I do this is I be very energetically congruent with what I'm saying, which creates the space where that energy becomes part of your world, especially when it's a contributory energy. So that's first, so it'll be there. But second, I'll give you the tools that I can that apply to that situation, and you can start using them. Now, are you going to be perfect when you start? No. Are you going to be as bad as you think you are? No. You're going to do it, and sometimes it'll just work completely, and you're like, oh my God. And then some of you, it'll be like, I don't really quite understand. I didn't think that helped at all. Just keep using it. Eventually, it'll click into place, and you'll see the change that I was talking to you about in the first place. So in this case of sadness, or in the case of somebody saying you're a terrible person, what you want to do is you want to lower the walls and barriers. And this is where interesting point of view I have this point of view comes in. So what happens is, what I'd like you to do, and this is where I started, sorry, Dain's brain takes me all kinds of places. I eventually sometimes get back. But what I'd like you to do is for you can get the sadness. For the rest of you, get all the drama and trauma about Corona. And what I'd like you to do is lower your walls and barriers, get the energy of it, get the sense of it, get where you feel it in your body. Lower the walls and barriers like we did yesterday. Oh, even that feels better, doesn't it? When you're just like, oh, thank you, Rebecca. Okay, good. Lower the walls and barriers. Great job. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is get that energy and say to it, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Cool. Usually it changes and it's continuing to. Next one, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Ooh, we have 666 people live right now, not including the people that are broadcasting to others. Ooh, it went up to 668. Oh my gosh, I guess I'm not as evil as I thought I was. Oh, interesting point of view. And now again, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. What happens to the energy? For most of us, with 3 to 10 times of saying it, it just disappears. This is, and these things, the ability to do things like this is increasing on our planet because of the consciousness that we are all bringing. Remember, what is consciousness? Where everything and everyone exists and no one and nothing is judged. And so it's increasing on our planet. The ability to be that space, to choose that space, is increasing because of the choices we're all making. It's truly changing the face of what is available in the world. Now, there are about 7,000 things I came up with last night that I wanted to talk to you about. So I'm going to be interesting point of view and also kind to you and kind to me, and do what I do while facilitating, which is follow the stream of energy as it flows. I was going to talk to you about future today, but that may be in the future. See what I did there? Okay, yeah, bad joke. Anyway, okay. Oh, it just disappeared as if by magic. Yeah, that. And it just melted everything. That is what is possible. Yes, only 7. No, it was more like 70,000. Thank you for noticing. Okay, so here's so this though, and this is one of the things we've really got to get, and I'm hoping to impress this upon you at some point, is we have to choose that. In other words, we have to value ourselves enough to actually choose to go, okay, I'm doing sadness. I'm choosing sadness. You got to get when somebody is sad, and let's face it, we have a world of sad people. They're choosing sadness. One day I'll tell you what's underneath sadness. Maybe not today, but okay, I'll tell you today. It usually happens to be anger, because anger is bad and wrong, supposedly. But once again, in a world of consciousness where everything exists and nothing is judged, anger would not be wrong. And then what I found about anger is usually its potency or the awareness of a lie. And so underneath what people think is the anger is actually a potency, an ability to change something, a capacity to change something, but they misidentify and misapply it as anger, and anger is bad and wrong and something you're not supposed to look at. There's nothing bad and wrong in consciousness. You can look at everything. So what they do is they don't have the ability to be present with their anger, so they cover it up with sadness. Like in the case of an animal dying or something. Usually you're angry because the animal's body is not there. And so you cover it up with sadness to prove that you're not a bad person by being angry. So all the sadness that you have all experienced, all the sadness you all saw and perceived other people having that was actually their way of suppressing anger, and you adopted it from them because nobody has ever had this conversation with you. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So, what's the antidote? Well, it can help to have the awareness I just gave you. Usually, it's some potency or the awareness of a lie that you then, it feels like anger, so you think it's anger, and then you cover it with sadness. That can be really helpful in this particular case of sadness, anger, and potency. And even if you don't have that, for any energy that is sticking you, get the energy, even if it's been there for months or years, you can get the energy and go, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. I love it. I have the waterfall sound again. That's funny, because I've got my little microphone, but it is not working. Oh well, I tried. Okay, so, hold on, I'm going to try one more thing. Give me a moment. Hello. Hold on. Oh. Select a device for sound output. I don't need sound output. I need sound input. MacBook Pro microphone. Okay. I got a microphone plugged in, but it does not show it. Okay. Oh well. Sorry. Waterfall today. How does it get any better than that? What an interesting point of view. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I was really angry about my granny leaving her body, but I had a great time covering it up with sadness in the beginning. Yeah, I have so much potency rising in the last 2 days. It's been an exercise to not suppress or cover it up. Yeah, but okay, so there's so many things. How long was your Facebook Live? 12 hours. Sorry, I had a lot to say. Okay. So what you can do is get the energy of anything that is still there, still stuck, and just go, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. It'll usually change. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Bye-bye. Look at this for just a moment. Is that fucking miraculous or what? Okay? No matter what tools you've used in the past, right? And a lot of us have done a lot of things, and some of you haven't ever done anything, which is great also. I'm glad you're all here. But what an amazing thing to be able to shift the energy so fast, because I will say again, and part of the reason, oh, by the way, I'm just going to ask you to lower the walls and barriers, and will you please let me in? Will you let the earth in? Will you let the universe in? Thank you. Okay. Even more? Even more? Even more? Even more? Even more? Okay. Thank you. Okay, cool. So, wow, that was cool. So there's that, and then let me give you another version of it, because one of the other things that sticks us a lot is our interactions with other people on this planet. But here's the thing. Look at the Earth has 8 billion people primarily ignoring it and rejecting it and trying to use and abuse it. Okay, maybe 4 billion of those have that as their primary point of view. Anyway, okay, and our interaction, the way we be in the world, if we be more like the Earth, you could ask, what would the Earth do? What would the Earth choose here? How would the Earth be here? Or you could open up, lower your walls and barriers, open up, like lower them from below, if you will, open up, reach down into the Earth energetically, reach your energetic tendrils down into the Earth and go, Earth, what do you, can you contribute to me, please? I know this is not how I'd like to be, but I don't seem to know how to get to someplace else. So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and rounds. Thank you, Kay, for responding to more. That's what I'm saying. Do interesting point of view until it dissipates or changes. But this is the thing. So she asked about anger. What do you do? These lockdowns are, you know, we're going into more lockdowns and I'm getting angry. Yeah, but you're making yourself the effect. Okay, so let me do one more thing, an interesting point of view. Then I need to give you another tool. Because this thing about being Earth Wizards may be how to navigate reality without getting swallowed, you know? How to navigate reality by walking on water instead of being drowned by the water. Or how to walk on top of the cesspool without getting pooey. Okay. So one of the other ways interesting point of view can be used really well, brilliantly, is when you have somebody where they've just said or done something and now you're wanting to go into reaction, or you feel really stuck. And I gotta say, guys, one of the things I'd like you to look at, please, because another part of this whole deal that I'm inviting you to, and well, inviting you to choose if you desire, is to become adults of consciousness. What is an adult of consciousness? An adult of consciousness is somebody who is honest with themselves, who is forthright about themselves, and they also take responsibility for what they choose in any situation, and they don't blame other people, and they don't blame the world, and they don't act like the world is doing this to me. Instead, they go, okay, I realize if I'm having a reaction, I'm creating the reaction. And what they don't realize, because you have the choice, you can either be an adult of consciousness or you can be a child of consciousness. And some people are more like toddlers of consciousness, but that's a story for another time. Excuse me. But what happens is, if you can take responsibility, and by responsibility, I don't mean judging you, but if you can take responsibility for, okay, I've got anger coming up, then you can now deal with it. If you just go to, I'm so angry, well, there's nothing to deal with there. There's nothing that can be changed there, okay? And so being an adult of consciousness is my eventual target for all of us. Choose whatever part of it you're willing to have or desire to. But know that when you're an adult of consciousness, that's when your entire life works. And the parts of your life that don't work, you are okay being present with until you can find what you need to change in order to change your point of view about it, in order to change how it shows up. Because it's our points of view about things that create how they show up for us. I must be Italian. I'm seriously talking with my hands today. So let's go to the interesting point of view about someone else. Okay, and then I'll tie in the anger thing. So when somebody does something and you feel like, oh, you know, you compress into a ball, or you get really stuck, or you get angry, or you don't quite know what to do, what you do is lower the walls and barriers again. This is crucial. Lower the walls and barriers, just push them down. And if you need to, tap into the earth and ask the earth to help you, like dissolve them, melt them, lower them, whatever. Aw, thank you, Natalie. And yes, Saskia, consciousness makes everything greater always. And Natalie said, thank you for being such an inspiration. Aw, thank you. Like, really, thank you. That is truly what I would hope to be, and thank you. So what you do is you lower your walls and barriers, you ask them to melt. You can ask the earth to help you melt the walls and barriers, because the earth doesn't have any to anyone or anything. Amazing, beautiful planet. Oh my goodness. And then what you want to do is get the energy and go, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, but be present with it. And don't try to do anything to it, just be present with it and go, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Now most of it will disappear, then there may be some left, or if you just can't seem to friggin' let it go and you just won't let it go because they were wrong and I'm right, at some point we need to talk about righteousness, but that's beyond the scope of today's conversation. If you still have stuff where you just won't let it go, here's what you want to do next. You want to go, interesting point of view that they have that point of view. Interesting point of view, they have that point of view. And then the one that actually sets you free, if the first one didn't, is interesting point of view, I have this point of view that they have that point of view. And you can mix up your thises and that's, it doesn't really matter. It's all energetic anyway. So you go, interesting point of view, I have the point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view that they have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view that they have that point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view that they have that point of view. Interesting point of view, they have that point of view. Interesting point of view, I have the point of view about them having that point of view. Okay? That, thank you, Sophie, and thank you all. And thank you all for your gratitude. And yes, I love the idea of including the earth and the universe in all of our creations. Thank you for this. And also, the lowering the barriers, interesting point of view. I want to be an adult of consciousness. Thank you. I cannot tell you what a gift that is to me personally and our planet. And also my awareness of what it means for your future and our future. I'm letting go of my anger. Interesting point of view. Awesome. Thank you. Now we've got a lot of other stuff in Access. One is called distractor implants for getting rid of anger. It's a little bit beyond where I can go today. But that is one of the ways. Well, actually, let me just give it to you really quick. Anger, rage, fury, and hate, blame, shame, regret, and guilt, fear, doubt, and I'm not going to go into the rest of them. But these are all things called distractor implants. So one more time, anger, rage, fury, and hate, blame, shame, regret, and guilt, fear, and doubt are all distractor implants. There's actually 24 of them total. And it was Gary who brilliantly identified these and realized that they're like an implanted point of view. What's an implanted point of view? Well, if somebody put a chip in your head to make a point of view real that wasn't, that's an implanted point of view. But it's an energetic thing primarily. And so what happens is all of those things, if you have any of that, blame, shame, regret, and guilt, it's so intense, but you can't ever seem to change it. Anger, rage, fear, and hate, it's so intense, but you can't seem to change it. Fear and doubt, it's so intense, but you can't seem to change it. It's because it's not real. Anything that is not real, anything that you buy from somebody else and make your point of view, or anything that's an implanted point of view, like one of these distractor implants, you'll do it more intensely than if it were real and if it were your point of view. Okay, so I highly recommend getting the book Living Beyond Distraction, because we go into the distractor implants there, or get the telecall. When Gary and I did the telecall that book is based on, it blew my mind what was available to get free from based on distractor implants. But what you want to do if you have any of these come up, you want to go, okay, so all the distractor implants creating this, and everything I aligned and agreed with, or resisted and reacted to, that allows it to exist, destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Thank you, Bettina, for writing that note. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, interesting. 99% of my life is not real. One of the things I found is after about a year in Access, I looked at Gary and I was like, you were correct when you said everything you thought was true has turned out to be a lie or an implanted point of view. I was amazed. And now I've seen so much of this, I've explored so much, I've been part of creating the but part of the creative edge of exploring new tools all the time. And I look at what people think is real in their lives that they make significant, and they get traumatic and dramatic over, and they suffer over for years sometimes, and I know it's not even real. And I also know that I can't tell them that, because if I told them it wasn't real, they would look at me as though I were crazy and trying to be superior and all this stuff. So it's this weird balancing act of having so many awarenesses of what could be chosen by people and how they could change things, and knowing that I can't tell them. So everything that is, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So grateful. Most of my intensities are not mine. What? So am I a gentle caress? Yeah, you are. I'm a walking, talking distractor implant. I have all 24 from many lifetimes. Definitely get the book. But here's the thing. Just because you've been that forever, number one, the fact that you recognize it is huge. It's like, you know what they say with alcoholism? Well, this is just it's its own addiction, okay? The addiction to trauma and drama, basically. But, you know, an alcoholic has to recognize that they have this going on first. You know, okay, I got a problem. Now, what can I do to change it? But the fact that you're willing to see it, and everybody, please, if you recognize something that you are doing or something that you have going on, I don't talk to you about something that's going on unless I'm pretty damn sure we have a way of starting on the path to changing it, or have a way of completely changing it. Now, what part of that path you walk is always your choice, okay? But what I don't understand is why people don't desire to be happier. I don't get it. It's like when I'm not happy, I'm like, this needs to change. Dear Universe, show me a tool. This is a great tool you can use too, by the way. Dear Universe, show me a tool. And this needs to change. What can I be and do that will change this is a great question you can ask. What can I be and what can I do that will change this? Okay, so whenever you have blame, shame, regret, and guilt, anger, rage, fury, and hate, blame or doubt, You want to go all the distractor implants creating that, POC and POD. And you could do everything you aligned and agreed with and resisted and reacted to, because you would have had to do that in order for this thing to have any effect on you. Okay? Because this goes back to interesting point of view. Interesting point of view is where you're not aligning and agreeing, which is the positive polarity, which is they say you're a jerk, you're like, oh my God, I'm a jerk. That's alignment and agreement. You're not resisting and reacting, which is the negative polarity, which is they say you're a jerk and you go, no, I'm not a jerk, I'm the best person in the world. Well, in order to resist and react, if you didn't align and agree, you couldn't have resisted and reacted, because you have to align and agree in the first place, which makes you make it real, and then you're resisting to the idea that it's actually real and true. Lower your walls and barriers, be interesting point of view, and there's nothing to align and agree with or resist and react to anymore. And then as you start living like that, you start realizing that the the intensity that most people call life and living has very little to do with living, but it is very involved with getting their life right and making their life right, good, perfect, and correct. And so if you can recognize that, then you realize that even the people that make themselves wrong continuously are actually doing it to make themselves right. So they only know they're right when they're wrong. And you could pick apart their family history and their childhood and all that, and you could actually see where they chose it, more than likely. It's what I do a lot of times in facilitating when that's necessary. But what it gives you, if you look at enough of this, it gives you this, I don't know, this really cool, cool way of being. And a way of being an allowance of a lot of people and a lot of things. Oh, wow. Thank you. Said one day about 5 years ago, I was watching one of your videos. It forever changed me in the situation at the time. Yes. Awesome. And I like Edwin's question. So if I POC and POD 99%, what do I end up with? And how do I get over the fear of losing 99% of my identity? You hear that? The Addams family? That's our doorbell. We like our doorbell. We're very proud of it. And we have this big old door that's, I don't know, 15 feet high, and you open it and it goes, it creaks, just like the Adam family house should. Okay. Yep, we get ever better with practice. So true. Let's practice being happy. Yeah. People stay where they are because they want to feel they're good at being unhappy. If they had to change, they may need to be uncomfortable for some time learning new things. True story. That's why I say, like, go on this journey, but relax. Be kind to you along the way. I love it. Thank you, Anne. She responded to Edwin saying, you don't lose you, you actually get more of you. You actually get more of the real you. Because you have the space of possibility, you can now choose something greater for you than distractor implants. Okay, cool. Okay, well, I'm glad I went into this and had this conversation. And I gotta say, I absolutely agree, Anne. That's brilliant and beautiful. Thank you. And I'm grateful to Edwin for asking the question. And, oh, thank you, Akka. And okay, so I want to address a little more about what Edwin asked about losing 99% of him, because one of the other things that is vital for us to get is that, you know how yesterday I started turning on the ESB energy, if you will, like turning it up. And I'm going to ask you to lower the walls and barriers, melt them, and let more of that in again today, please. And it may feel different than yesterday, like it's actually just there. Even less of a separation from you. Because it is you. I'm not doing anything to you, but I am doing something for you and with you. And doing my best to activate all the molecules of consciousness, because every molecule has consciousness, as a way of contributing to you. So with that, you start to realize that truly we are energetic beings, and we have a lot of energetic awareness. And one of the other tools I want to give you before I forget is start a gratitude list, please. And write it on your phone or whatever, and just lower the walls and barriers like you did yesterday. Let this energy in. Look around your house and find one thing you're grateful for. Okay? Look around Earth and find one thing you're grateful for. Look at your body and find one thing to be grateful for, because we tend to judge our bodies nonstop continuously. Look at the people in your life and find one to be grateful for, and write down just a little snippet of what you're grateful for, if it will help. And then also one thing about your life that you're grateful for. Okay? And oh, thank you, Suzette. And I would ask you to do that every single day, one thing in each of these categories that you're grateful for, and write it down so the list just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And you can put new ones at the top or new ones at the bottom or new ones in the middle and intersperse them, it doesn't matter. And just having that there starts to open up this space of gratitude. And there's been lots of scientific study that proves that people who are more grateful live longer and they're happier. Okay, so one of the other things, given this energetic awareness, one of the things we found a long time ago in Access is that 98% at least of your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions are things you pick up from other people around you. Yeah, 98 friggin' percent. And so, Edwin, I know you understand it. Dude, you just gotta fucking do it. Like, no excuses. Because the thing is, you'll get tired, you won't stay with it for a while, it doesn't matter. Just keep doing it when you remember to, but don't judge you when you don't. It's like, this is part of being an adult of consciousness. It's like, we expect, if I do this, it's going to be perfect and it's going to change everything right now. No, you have no idea how many fixed points of view you have in the way of just allowing the lightness that should be possible, which is actually, we can be lightness walking upon the earth, we change the face of the planet. And that's what I'm trying to get us to, and trying to get us to step into the potency that we all naturally already are, that we have been covering up and limiting by all these points of view and things that we've had and been and done, etc. Okay? So 98% of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your judgments, your points of view, your fears, your doubt, your anger, rage, fear, and hate, your blame, shame, regret, and guilt, your insanity is things you're picking up from other people around you. You're like a big psychic radio receiver. Okay? No, it's more like 98,000% isn't yours. Okay? And so what you want to do is you want to ask, who does this belong to? And yes, Emily's 3 Days of Gratitude in the Neon Sheep Lounge series is a great place to start. That Neon Sheep Lounge has been amazing for the people part of it, because I keep hearing from them. It's so amazing. So there's another suggestion for you for the gratitude and living a life. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to ask, who does this belong to every thought, feeling, emotion, and weird energy, stuck energy, yuck. Anytime you have stuck, yuck, or what the fuck, ask, who does this belong to? If it lightens up at all, it's not yours. Just return it to sender. You don't even have to know who the sender is. And so, given that, what happens is, let's say you're in the middle of fear. You go, okay, well, who does this belong to? If it lightens up at all, it's not yours. Return it to whoever it came from. If it doesn't lighten up when you say that, then you go, okay, puck and pot all the distractor implants, creating all of that. We have an app called the Who Does This Belong To app. I literally, that and Access Consciousness bars cured me of depression and suicidal thoughts 20 years ago. It's the reason one of the reasons I'm still here. Bars was the first, and Who Does This Belong To? And also all of the other Access Consciousness tools. Excuse me. Okay. I'm not going to go into the complete details of Who Does This Belong To, because we have an app. It's called Access Consciousness. Who Does This Belong To? And there are lots of videos there and lots of explanations. But basically, if you'll do that for 3 days, at the end of 3 days, you walk around like you're in a walking, talking meditation. And it is some of the most intensely present you will ever be in your life. And it is amazing to experience what it's like to have no thoughts in your head. Like, people ask me, do you meditate? And I'm like, yes. How often? All the time. My life is pretty much a walking, talking meditation. And cool. I'm glad you guys are posting some of the links in here. And thank you for suggesting the Being You Changing the World book too, by the way. That's one of my favorite things in the world, actually. And it's sort of a basis for everything else that I do. So, so who does this belong to? I wanted you all to have, and I would ask that you please, 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 please start now if you haven't done it. Because otherwise you are picking up, like, so for example, the corona craziness. How much of that is not yours? How much of that are you picking up from the people who really believe it's true and who are aligning and agreeing with it? Look, if you check the stats on corona, because I know there are all kinds of points of view. Some people are terrified or think they are, and some people like really have bought into the whole thing. But if you check the science, the statistics, the death rate is 0.002%. And there are scientists all over the world that are speaking out and saying it's like a bad flu season, but we're shutting down the world, and well, that has its own stuff behind it. And just, you know, it's one of those things that also do not resist and react, do not align and agree. And I say do not as though I'm trying to make you, but really it's like if you want freedom, aligning and agreeing always makes you the effect of what you align and agree with. Resisting and reacting always makes you the effect of what you resist and react to. So not doing that, being interesting point of view, when you notice your dander come up, when you notice yourself getting angry about the lockdown or something else, lower the walls and barriers. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, they have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view, that they have this point of view. Until you have some space. We've got to stop making the most minuscule elements of reality real and true for us. Because if we do, we are never going to expand into the magical, miraculous creatures we actually are. So what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can you be to be the mysterious, magical, miraculous, conscious, spacious, energetic creature you and your body truly be with total ease? Everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. It's like pressing a huge reset button on reality. Yes, awesome. That is what I'm hoping to do. And as far as going beyond COVID, I know what you're saying I already concluded in March. I thank you. I get that. And yet, what is it going to take for you to function as the lightness beyond that? It's like I concluded that in March also. I became aware of it in March and have ever since. But what we need to do is we can't change it. You can't change an overarching aspect of this reality from being within this reality in your point of view and your awareness and your energy. You've got to be something beyond this reality in order to change this reality. So let me give you, this is a practical thing that I wanted to share with you today for the earth and our world, okay? Which is what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to expand out 100,000 miles in all directions. Okay? Oh, I love that. What is a beautiful energy underneath this? Yeah, exactly. You don't change fear by being in it or fighting it. Exactly that. So what I'd like you to do is expand out 100,000 miles in all directions. Look at the government in your country and what one molecule can you change that needs to be changed to bring more consciousness. And do that at least once a day, if not several times a day. Okay? Expand out 100,000 miles in all directions. And look at the one molecule that you can change on Earth. And when I say change, it's like turn the polarity of it. for me, I go out and there's this one point and it's like, turn me. And I'm like, okay, turn. We have this body process, cellular memory, point of creation, turn. And it undoes scar tissue and returns the cells to their natural function by undoing the memory of the limitation. It's a similar thing that we do here. Go out 100,000 miles in all directions and look at Earth and see what one molecule can I change that will create a sustainable living Earth. Then go out 100,000 miles in all directions and look at your body and what one molecule can I change to create the body I would like to have, or to have it be immune to corona and all that sort of stuff. And go out 100,000 miles in all directions, look back at the Earth and look at what one molecule can we change to end the pandemic, okay, the plandemic that we're in the middle of, and the craziness of the separation and the diminishment of personal freedom that it is giving government permission, that government is taking as a result of it. It's like, wow, that's interesting. Okay, so government's taking all kinds of things as a result of it, but okay, what can we be that is bigger? Because if we continuously go bigger, if we continuously be the adults of consciousness and don't go into the smallness and the most minuscule parts of reality and fight against that like so many people do, then the space of our being becomes available to us. And if we choose it and choose to be more interesting point of view, choose to get over the doubt and the fear and the anger, rage, fear, and hate, and the blame, shame, regret, and guilt, choose to get over judgment, choose to get over hating, choose to get over right and wrong, choose to get over us needing to be right and us needing to be wrong and other people needing to be right and other people needing to be wrong. What we then have is we start to step into a space of being that is beyond this reality's ability to stop, limit, or control. And from there, and the thing about power in this reality is power is where you're the one who can control the most people. Well, the true power, the true potency, we talk about potency and access usually more than power, because power in this reality is the one who controls the most, which is like, that's not the Earth's form of power. It's not the universe's form of power. But your greatest power and potency, when you're truly being the power and potency of you, what you do is you look for and you bring possibilities and you unite people together in that bringing of possibilities, and you perceive the gifts, the unique gift that each person is, and you do what you can to bring these people together as the gifts that they are. You see the greatness in them they may not be willing to see, and that is us being the adults of consciousness and being that space that is beyond this reality. When I say this reality, I think you know what I mean. COVID is a good example, and all the government stuff, blah blah, all the stuff that when you feel it makes you feel heavy. And so what you do, if you choose this stuff, and the stuff I'm saying sounds simple and it sounds like me in relationship with this person or this one energy or whatever, but its eventual impact is that of you being the being that you are. Because when you're doing this little shit, you're not being the being that you are. You're being run by this reality, and you're taking an infinite being and focusing them on a point every time you take a point of view. So what I do is I undo my points of view, and what it creates is a space where I can perceive things from a different space and place, and I can also do it from such allowance that I see what people are choosing, but I don't have to make them wrong for it, nor do I desire to make them wrong for it, nor do I believe that they have to change it, but I'm definitely here to contribute if they're ready to change it. If we can be more like that, that alone, being that space in the world, changes. Now also, please, that thing of expand out 100,000 miles in all directions and change the one molecule of government that can be changed. You can do it 10, 20 times in a row if you get it, but usually it'll be maybe a few times in a row and then that's it. But if we all do that every single day with our governments around the world, and you could look at other governments and see if you can change that too. It just seems to be sometimes that you can change the the stuff you feel more connected to or whatever. I don't know exactly how that works. You have a sense of familiarity with the energy that needs to change. And so, crowds, who does this belong to? Okay. And so, what I'm trying to invite without putting it into words as much, although I have, because when you put it into words, then people align and agree or resist and react or think it means something that I don't mean and all that. But what I'm trying to invite is that space of being that you are. And what else is possible? Okay, so I gave you a bunch of tools. Miss Monica, can you send me today's home play, please? Home play, please. Home play, please. Dun, ta-da. Monica's like the fastest person on the planet. I thought I was fast. Then I met Monica. And she takes all the notes for me and writes down all the processes because she's awesome. Okay. Okay. So we have the writing down your gratitude. We have so all the tools I gave today. Okay. Well, okay. So was there something else? Well, we went in a slightly different direction than I thought we were from where we were starting. And there's so much available. And lower the walls and barriers, be an interesting point of view, nothing to align and agree with, resist and react to. Oh, okay. So the other thing that I wanted to do that I started talking about that I didn't quite get to yet is the other thing that you can do. Now, so with any particular thing, there may be many tools that will work to change it or just one that will work to change it, but you don't know until you go to do the work to change it. Also, like knowing that 98% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't belong to you is not enough. You need to ask the question, who does this belong to? Okay? Because I've asked people, well, truth, is it yours? And they go, well, nothing is mine. And I'm like, yeah, and you're sitting here with something that's not yours, that you're buying is yours, so obviously you don't get that nothing is yours. You need to ask, truth, is this mine? Or who does this belong to? Okay? That's first. Oh, thank you for the thank you, beautiful peoples. Okay, so that's first. Next is realizing that many tools might work on a particular thing. So like with fear, for example, I mentioned distractor implants, potting distractor implants. Then I also mentioned, who does this belong to? Well, for any energy, all this stuff is energetic. And for some of it, you're not even going to know what it is. You're just going to be like, you know, like, okay, would you please define that for me so we can change it? The beauty of Access is you don't got to define it before you can change it. It's fucking awesome. Okay. So you get an energy of something. You can do lower the walls and barriers, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. You know, you can do the interesting point of view thing. You can pod the distractor implants. You can do who does this belong to? But do who does this belong to for 3 complete days. Please get the app. It will remind you to do it, and it will explain tons about it that I haven't gone into here. Okay. Please, because if you haven't done who does this belong to for 3 days, you are walking around with 98% of the shit in your head that is actually not yours, trying to deal with it. If you could empty out 98% of the shit from your head today, how much lighter would your tomorrow get? And then you also start to have a sense and an awareness of when something actually does belong to you, and it's a totally different ballgame. Okay? Another thing I want to give you is what's true for you will always make you lighter. I should have given you this yesterday. I think I said it once. I'm going to go just say it a couple more times as though that might make it go in. What's true for you makes you lighter. A lie makes you heavier. So whether it's I'm saying something or whether you read about Corona, latest edition, you know, latest lockdown, latest BS about all that, okay? Whether it's somebody else that says it, whether it's on TV, whatever, if you start to get heavy, it's not true for you. Turn the page. Change the channel. Or if it's in the case of me saying something and you feel heavy, you want to ask, okay, is this true for me? is he saying it in a way that's different than I thought it was? Or is this just not true? Like, because what'll happen is I'll say what you actually know, but if you've decided it needs to be said this way, you might go, oh, it makes me feel heavy. Because to the best of my ability, I do my damnedest to be energetically congruent with everything I say, so that if I say something, it actually matches the energy. And it may be my point of view, my awareness of something, and I don't ever want you to buy my awareness, okay? Don't trust me, trust you. Don't trust me, trust you. Do not trust me, trust you, okay? Always. There's no one that knows more about what is true for you than you. Please, always trust you, okay? And so, okay. I just blanked out because I saw one of the comments there. Okay. With that awareness, if you have that, and you have the awareness of what's true makes you lighter and a lie makes you heavier, use that to navigate your life to know what is true. Does it take a while sometimes to get it? Yeah. Does it show up in different ways, and do you get more of it over time? Yes. But start with that awareness of what's true makes you lighter, a lie makes you heavier. Last thing I want to do with you today is a little 1, 2, 3 practice, okay? Because this is also, remember I said there are many things you can use to change the energy of things. This is also a beautiful, wonderful tool. And so here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to get the energy of everything that you have done in any lifetime to disconnect your body from the earth. Or, sorry, anything you have done or anything that's been done to you in your body. Anything that's been done or you have done to disconnect your body from the earth, to disconnect you from your body, and to disconnect you from consciousness, you and your body and the earth from being together and consciousness. That's a big ask. Okay, maybe too big an ask, but let's see. On 3, let's do what we can to change it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Now, on 4, to create a different future. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now everything that doesn't allow you to be happy for no fucking reason. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Some of you are getting happier, even though you don't know why or how, even though you don't want to, because you like to be unhappy, so you can be around other people who are unhappy, and then you can act like them, because if you're too happy, they try to bring you down. So you decided a long time ago that you make yourself not be happy because you're too happy. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do is reach around the earth, expand your energy out, and just sort of melt through and with the earth. And on 3, let us change everything that does not allow the earth's voice, the earth's energetic voice, to be heard loudly. On 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And on 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And sometimes people go, do you only do 1, 4? Because a lot of times I only do 1, 4. No, I just do it until the energy changes. Like literally, I'm doing it to change the energy. And people might go, oh, you're crazy or whatever. Yeah, but I'm happier than most of them, so I don't really care. How do you maintain my own reality of happiness all the time? You don't maintain it. Because if you try to hold on to it, you're going to lose it within seconds. And then you'll wonder where it went and go backwards looking for it. How can you continuously get happier every single day? And one of the other questions I would like you to use, please. Oh, a couple other things for you. One of the things I'd like you to ask is, what part of what David Attenborough talked about and what part of what he suggests can you contribute to? Like, okay, just energetically. and maybe some ways physically. Like, can you contribute to a different reality regarding food and food production? Can you contribute to a different financial reality for people and help some people out? Do you have a different awareness of how we can be? What part of those things that and this is one of the things I'm going to ask of you, because one of the gifts of all of us being together is some of you know people where you can just show them the documentary, or Kiss the Ground, for example, where it's about sustainable agriculture and sustainability with all of that. Some of you know people who, if they watch that, their point of view would change. And some of you know people in government. Some of you know people in all kinds of places. Who else do you know that you could share that information with? One, where it would contribute to them. Some of you just know other humanoids, and a humanoid is a seeker, you guys, okay, who always think they're wrong. They're always in judgment of themselves, and they think they're judgmental. So maybe you know somebody who could just use hearing it, that it would contribute to, or invite them to this group if they're willing to put up with the weirdo called me and all the other beautiful weirdos in the group. But some of you also, there's other actions that you can take. So one of the things I'd like you to ask is, what action can I take today to create a sustainable living earth? What action can I take based on this documentary, or based on all these films that I've just seen? And if you haven't watched all the films, watch them. There's a lot more. And in a lot of countries around the world, they're either subtitled or they have audio overlay in different languages. So that is one of the other things that is available. What action can you take? And then also, what can you be that will create a sustainable living earth? And also, what one choice can I make today to create a sustainable living earth right away? And it may surprise you what that choice is. It may be like calling a friend you haven't talked to in 25 years. Like the universe is just waiting to orchestrate miracles for you. It's just we haven't been asking and we haven't been responding, and we think somehow it has to be difficult and hard because that's what we have conditioned ourselves to, because we live in a reality that's based on that. But what if it's not? What if it's actually designed to be way more miraculous? What if that's actually what we have capacity for? And what if we just have to open up to it? Well, all these access tools I'm sharing with you are part of opening up to that, part of allowing your life and living to be that way, okay? And you get more in access classes, and you get more movement of energy in access classes, but this is a great friggin' start, okay? And so the list of films is on there's a post in the Earth Wizard group, and it should be the very top post, okay? So what action can you take? And then there was one last thing. What else was it? Okay, well, on our next Facebook Live, I'm going to be speaking with the lovely Monica about talking to plants, and Susie about talking to plants and maybe animals. I'm not sure. We will see what we have and how we go. And gosh, there was one other thing that I wanted to make sure to say to you. Okay, what action can you take? What should you? Just one thing, maybe some of you are like, oh, maybe I will transition to more of a plant-based diet. That doesn't mean you have to be vegan or vegetarian if that doesn't work for your body, but maybe you want to go to more of a plant-based diet. Who knows? Just making that one change is an action you can take, and something you can do every day if that's lighter for you. And there was one other thing that I'm just not remembering right now. So, well, my beautiful friends, wow. Yeah, I agree. After seeing Planet Earth, my daughter said everyone has to see this documentary. I totally agree. We have so many more conversations to have. So enjoy watching the movies, since this is movie week. And, maybe you put on one a night. And, it can't hurt. I've watched several of them several times, and I know you probably have too. Whatever we can do to stay inspired, including listening to these Facebook Lives again and letting them change the energy again and again and again and again. And whatever else you can do, and ask, what else can I do to stay inspired? What can I do and be that will change this? And remember the 1, 2, 3 and the 1, 2, 3, 4 to change the energy. And there was a time where I was really cranky, and Katarina's like, why don't you go outside and do some 1, 2, 3s and 1, 2, 3, 4s? I'm like, stop using my shit against me. Anyway, I went outside and I went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, this isn't gonna work. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I was like, oh my god, you're right, it worked. It took 60 seconds. Changed my whole perspective. So use it when you need to change your energy too, and see what shows up. And yes, Forest Man was incredible too. Damn. Amazing. Definitely watch that. Okay, beautiful people, I am way over time. Sorry, but I had a lot to say. I adore y'all very much, and thank you for being the gift and the contribution you are. And you're welcome for frying your mind. Mwah. See you soon. Have way too much fun, and enjoy the earth and your body, and being alive, and being happy, and being like a plant, and being like an animal, and creating and being an adult of consciousness, because that's where all the magic is. Bye-bye!